Wow! How's everybody doing? Yes, sir. We are back. The Let's Talk with Stanley Doucette is back live on the air. I am uberly excited today because we have one of my favorites of all time. We're going to talk about relationships today, ladies and gentlemen. I know some of y'all like, uh-oh, what in the world is Stanley going to do today? Listen, I have one of my favorites here today. We're going to get into some really good advice, especially for us single people out there. So, all of the people that's single, we're going to dive deep into this for you guys. Now, for us relationship specialists, I'm not him, but I'm fortunate enough to be married, and some kind of way along the line, I did okay. But he is going to share with you guys in detail some powerful tools and instruments to make you guys exciting, especially to the single group, to attract those individuals that you're looking for. But with that, before we get into all of that, y'all know how we got to do it, family. Let's go into all of these commercials, right? So, first of all, follow us, share, like, support, subscribe on Let's Talk with StanleyDoucette.com. Go there. All of the previous season is there. All of the upcoming, the season so far that's going on, season 2 is there. And we're going to have some other stuff going on as well. Listen, we're also on all of the social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, so on and so on and so on. Go there. Just type in Let's Talk with Stanley Doucette. You'll find us. We're there. We're also on YouTube. We got our YouTube channel going. So we're doing some incredible things on the social media aspect. We're excited about that, but we got to do what we got to do. But first and foremost, let's get into this information that we're going to talk about today. Listen, I have one of the utmost and most powerful people that I know specifically for you guys today to talk about relationships. Now, Roy, now I'm trying not to butcher it, Roy. I'm gonna try not to butcher it. Bianca Lana,
There
is
you
that
go.
right?
That's it. Beautiful.
Yes, sir. Now, Roy is first of all, he's my friend. He's an LSU man. So I know all of you guys that are out there, I know y'all gonna hate. It's okay. It's okay. It is okay. Y'all can't be special like us. So it's okay. But anyway, Roy is a certified relationship coach and a national recognized expert, not a play, but an expert in the field of attraction and conscious relationships, and the host of the Attracting Lasting Love podcast. Yes, it's my fellow podcast partner. Along with being a frequent TV analyst, Roy is an author of not one, not even two, but three best-selling books. Look at the top of his thing. Look at the top. Best-selling books. The latest is which is Relationship Bootcamp. Listen to this subtitle. I love this. Hardcore training for life, love, and the pursuit of intimacy. The pursuit of intimacy. Some of y'all really need that, but we're not going to get into that. We'll get into that later. For the last 15 years, Roy has been supporting single people in the art of attracting health, sustainability, and intimate relationships. His experience has taught him that getting in relationship shape, yes, it's not just building muscles to be healthy, but there's some other relationship shape you need to get in, is the key to attracting lasting love. Roy has a complimentary 45-minute exploratory coaching session. Now, not a lot of people doing that. People don't want to give things for free anymore, but he has 45 minutes a coaching session that where he would help you discover some of the issues that, yes, you, not your neighbor, not your cousin, but you are actually sabotaging your love life, and present a plan to address those issues. So that's my friend, that's Roy. Now, he's going to give his information not at the beginning, but at the end in terms of how to get in contact with him, how to take advantage of the coaching session, because some of y'all really need it. Y'all gonna stop blowing my phone up. So without further ado, I would like to introduce to some and present to others my friend, my brother, Roy. Bianca Lana. Roy, how you doing, man?
Oh, it's good to be here. I love your energy. I think we're going to have a great conversation.
Man, this is going to be wonderful. This is going to be wonderful. Roy, listen. Before we even got on the podcast, I was talking to one of my younger cousins, right? And she was just almost screaming at the top of her lungs, like relationships. I hate men. Now that was one side. A couple of weeks ago, my fraternity brother had a dialogue. I call it a dialogue, but it was a debate party. We had some single men, some single ladies, of course, us married people. We were just there laughing. It was just hilarious. And they had some, let's just say, some fire going that way. So all of that was going on. I think we're in the perfect place at the perfect time to have you on. So Roy, before we get into all of that, Roy, what do you want to say to the people first and foremost? Just what do you want to say before we get into the dialogue and the questions?
Well, probably that everything that I can share about how to attract and create a healthy, sustainable relationship is stuff that I have learned along the way from my own mistakes. Like I often tell people, if you just don't do what I did, you're going to be fine. Right. So You'll hear more about this. I mean, I've had some real disasters in my love life, which put me on this path, to try to understand, why my professional life has been fairly successful, but my personal life for years, decades was not. And I think if I was going to sum up something right at the very beginning,
yes,
here's the lesson that I really learned. And it's like the foundational lesson. It's going to make perfect sense to everyone, but it's sort of hard for the ego to swallow. Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah. So here's what I learned back when, so I was married for like 19 years and that relationship became kind of a platonic co-parenting functional relationship, but there was no man-woman stuff, right? There was, I don't mean just sex. There wasn't that either, but we weren't really man woman. We were like brotherly, sisterly, just raising a child together and that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So went through a divorce. And of course I immediately rebounded into another relationship, which was of course the dead opposite, right? It was all sexual, all chemistry,
right? Which
at the time for me was really nice, but it lasted 2.5 years. We did get engaged and then she dumped me 6 months before the wedding. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Now that destroyed me. Like I went through what I consider like a midlife crisis, like a 1-year long thing where I couldn't sleep, had heart palpitations, obsessive thinking. I was a lousy father for that year. My career suffered. I was just a mess.
Right.
And so the way I handled all that pain is not the way I would recommend it. At the time, I was just trying to survive. Mm-hmm. But what I did is I joined a bunch of online dating sites and just trying to find a new woman to help me forget the old one. You know what I mean? I mean, so that's what I mean about don't do what I did, right? I rebounded from a marriage immediately into another relationship without doing any work on me. And then after I got dumped by my fiance, it was just go online. And what I basically did was I used women, I think, as a way to distract me from my pain. I really wasn't emotionally available to any of these new women that I met. So you can imagine the amount of drama that caused, because I was showing up like, here I am, I'm available. I want to meet someone.
Right.
I want to be close to someone. And I was just trying to survive my own pain. So about that time, a friend of mine brilliantly suggested, Roy, maybe you need to talk to someone about your love life. You got some issues going on here, right?
Right.
And here's the part that was so amazing at that point in my life where I had these relationship difficulties. Mm-hmm. At that time, Stanley, I actually thought it was all the women's fault.
Yep,
I actually thought, oh, my ex-wife, blah, 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 my ex-fiance, blah, 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 all these online women, you're all crazy. I was just pointing the finger of blame at everyone. It never occurred to me that I was the common denominator in all of the pictures.
That's right. I
It
understand.
really, that it never occurred that maybe I've got an issue or a problem. Maybe I've got some childhood conditioning that's affecting my love life. Maybe I've
Yes.
got what I call relationship personas or personality blind spots. Maybe I got some junk, okay,
Yeah.
that is attracting these dynamics and creating the pain. I just thought I just hadn't met the right person yet. Okay. It's hard on the ego to look in the mirror and say that your relationship struggles, whatever they might be, are not happening to you. They're happening by you.
That's right. That's right.
It's kind of hard to take ownership. Now, that doesn't mean the women in my life didn't have issues. Everybody's got issues. But I wasn't asking myself, what am I doing to create this? What am I missing about myself? What am I not aware of? How am I showing up to create this disconnect and the divorce and being dumped and all these things? The minute I turned my focus from, it's all the woman's fault and how do I find the right woman, to focusing on how do I become the right guy and what do I need to change about myself, my entire life changed. Everything changed. The trajectory of my life since that moment has gone in the direction I think most people want their love life to go, which is toward healthy connections, lasting connections. But that is the key. That nothing is going to change in your life until you forget about everybody else and all their problems and all the things that they do. And you really honestly look at yourself saying, what do I need to work on within me?
That's right.
And then when you do that,
you say that and oh my God, this is going to be an incredible conversation. So we have something in common. What do you say, fortunate, unfortunate? I went through a divorce as well. But I'm gonna add something to that. Once upon a time, I was a police officer. And when you're talking about emotionally unavailable, a lot of police officers, and I'm just speaking police officers, I mean, we could talk military and, if you were downrange and all of that stuff, whatever. But I'm just talking about police officers. A lot of police officers become emotionally unavailable because all of the things that they see on a daily basis. And they don't realize that they check out and try to have that intimacy, as we'll talk about in a bit, but try to have intimacy and all of those things. They're unavailable. Ladies, listen. Men, listen. Those individuals are sometimes unavailable. And if you don't allow them the opportunity to process their thoughts, it's going to be some challenges. I'm telling you, it's going to be some challenges. Roy and I are not, we don't have every answer, but we have a lot of them. We have a lot of them. We've been through some things. Roy, listen, in all of that, how did you actually get started in all of this stuff? I know you had matter of fact, just a quick blurb, if you don't mind. I know you had an incredible and still do have an incredible professional life. You want to share that just a bit with the people before we get into the relationship side?
Yeah. For most of my life, I was a professional golfer. Right. So, I played on the PGA Tour, I've played with Tiger Woods and, all that kind of stuff. I still compete a little bit in the summertime. I live up here in Chicago and I still play some tournaments locally. It's this is my full-time gig, being a coach now. It was around, right when I went through all my relationship stuff is when I was around 46, 47 years old, 45 years old. And of course I was, getting to the end of my golfing career.
Yes.
And then I went through all my personal life stuff. And when my friends suggested that I get some help, it was at that moment that I hired a coach. And I worked with her for 2 years, which is a long time, but I was pretty messed up. And so the work that I did, because I eventually got to the place where I asked my coach, what am I doing to make my love life be such a disaster? I was really teachable. I was really open because I wasn't just blaming all the women anymore. I was willing to look at myself. And the things that she took me toward, the questions that she asked me, the places within my life that she invited me to look, the whole process was so transformative for me. It made such a difference that, and I met an amazing woman. There's a picture of us right there. We've been together now 13 years, been married, and all of the work that I do with my coach was so transformative. When I came out of it, I was like, now I know what I want to do with the rest of my life.
That's good. That's real good.
I want to do for other people what my coach did for me.
That's good.
Right? Like, I want to meet people who are at their wits' end with their love life, but they're willing to look at themselves. They're kind of done with the blaming thing. They're like, what am I missing? I want to grow. I want to learn. And what I've discovered is the turnaround in my love life really was not because I was lucky. It wasn't because, God just was good to me or something. I looked in certain places. I followed a certain process that is transferable, right? So in other words, if people are listening here and their love life is messed up and they just don't feel like they're connecting with anyone and they would like to be in a great relationship and stuff, if you do the things that I did, you can get the results that I've gotten.
Correct.
Because it's not about me. It's about the process and the willingness to. So that's why I'm a coach, is like, and I want to do for other people what Diana, my coach, did for me. And that's like my new mission in life. I've been doing it for almost 15 years now.
It's interesting, Roy. There's some buzzwords you put in there that I think is amazing. I think they're amazing. And one of them, and I'm gonna use a sports analogy, everybody likes a winner, but sometimes they don't like winners and all of that stuff. There's a guy that coached the University of Alabama football team here in America by the name of Nick Saban. He's
never heard of him.
Yeah, I know, right?
Because he used to be at LSU, so we don't speak his name.
Don't remind me of that. So here's something that's very interesting that I like to study successful people.
Sure.
And one of the things that I think is amazing that he talks about is the process and everybody doing their job. When you talked about the process, I got excited because the stuff that I had to go through in my process is exactly what you say. Everybody's process is a little different, but if you stay to your process, get a coach. This is very important. Yes, we're talking about relationship coaches today, but some people need business coaches. Some people just need a coach or whatever. Get a coach. If professionals have coaches and you're an amateur, you need a coach as well, right? So I say that because when Nick Saban talks about the process and going through the process and sticking through the process, that is important. And I know you stuck through the process. As a matter of fact, if you don't mind, share with the family about how all of this actually took place. I know how did it all get started with everything? I know you have an incredible story. So if you don't mind, you want to share that with the family?
Yeah. I'll share something that I was experiencing that I have since found to be very common. And that is, as I was pursuing intimacy, looking for a partner and dating and all that kind of stuff, I experienced a certain kind of pattern. Like I found I kept attracting the same kind of woman.
Yes.
And we would have the same pattern and then the same problem and the same pain. I've actually coined a term. It's like I was living in relationship Groundhog Day, right? That old movie with Bill Murray, right? Where he's living the same day over and over and over again. Well, it was like I was living in the same relationship with the same type of woman and the same dynamics over and over and over again. And so I was sharing that with my coach, and she asked me to describe what was the dynamic. And I said, well, I keep attracting women who are very successful professionally, but they are like overwhelmed in their life. Like they're so busy. They're working 60 to 80 hours a week, but they are single mothers and they're trying to manage their household and their kids and their high-powered career, and they're just overwhelmed and they're just kind of drowning in everything that they're trying to take care of.
Yes.
I said, I keep attracting that kind of woman. And what I'm discovering is I'm functioning as like Superman. Like I get in these relationships where I'm like Roy the rescuer. Right.
Yes.
And I you know, I would find myself early in a relationship, like within weeks, I would find myself kind of almost moving in with the girl that quickly. And I'd be sort of raising her kids, cleaning her house, making dinner, being her masseuse, you know, cutting the grass, doing the laundry. You know, it's like I'm taking care of her life so that she could take care of me, right? She's, you know, she's working 60 to 80 hours a week, and I just freed up. I just did everything. So every other minute of her life she could spend with me. Okay.
That's right.
So I got into these kind of dynamics where I felt like I was being Roy the rescuer, and I was attracting the, you know, Debbie, the damsel in distress. Right. Yeah. And the two of those kind of go together. Right.
Yes.
Right. Now, here's the part that I learned about how I was setting that up, because for a while I was always blaming, oh, these women are workaholics. Yeah, they make a lot of money, but they're not taking care of their life, and they're falling apart, and I got to do everything. I got to be Mr. Mom, even though I don't want to be, you know, all that kind of stuff. What I learned is my relationship with my mother was such that to be close to my mom was like a perfectionist. She took care of our needs in the family, but she was sort of emotionally distant.
Yeah.
Unless you sort of did what she wanted you to do.
Right.
Right. Like if I was a good boy Roy. Okay. If I did what she wanted and I sort of ignored what maybe I wanted, but I fulfilled her agenda. If mama ain't happy, nobody happy. That was kind of the thing in my family.
Right.
So I learned as a little boy, sort of unconsciously at the time, that if I want attention and affection from my mother, my first feminine source, you could really say my first girlfriend in a way, right? I mean,
yes,
my first experience of the feminine. And a little boy wants to be close to his mother, right? Yeah. I learned that the way you get emotional, some connection, some attention, some affection, is if you make your life be about taking care of hers.
Yes.
Right?
And removing your feelings.
So you see that I was functioning with my mother in that kind of way. And now you fast forward, I'm 45 years old, and I find myself in one relationship after another where I believe the only way I can get the attention and the affection of a beautiful woman is if I make my life be about taking care of hers. Just don't have your own needs, don't have your own wants, don't show up as your own person in a relationship, and look for mutual support and, you know, understanding and give and take. No, you be good boy Roy. And in fact, in one of my books, I have a chapter titled The World's Greatest Boyfriend, because that's what I was. I was like, but I was doing these things, laundry and taking care of the kids, not because that's the way I wanted to express love, because that's a beautiful thing if that's how you want to express love. Yeah, I was doing it because I was just scared. It was all fear-based. I was afraid if I was not that kind of guy, a woman would never want to be with me.
That's right.
So I'm in that mentality of believing, well, that's the way I can get attention and affection from women. So I'm functioning as Roy the rescuer, okay? The world's greatest boyfriend, all these things. Well, then, of course, what kind of women would I attract?
Yeah.
I would attract women who need to be rescued.
Right? You would attract your mother.
Right. Right. Exactly. So it's not really their fault. Yeah. It's that I was, and this is what I learned, I was moving in the world with a certain belief system, what I call a relationship persona. Yeah. Right. The Roy the rescuer. That's the way I thought I could get love and security and attention and affection. I was moving in the world in that way, and that attracts a specific kind of woman who needs to be rescued. So I use this analogy. All of us, when we were kids, we probably made puzzles, right?
Right.
100-piece puzzle, 1,000-piece
Yes.
puzzle. Now, in a puzzle, whatever piece you have, it doesn't fit with just any piece in the puzzle.
That's right.
You got to find its reciprocal match, right?
Correct.
So it's got a shape and it fits perfectly with its reciprocal. They go together like cookies and milk, right?
That's right.
What I learned is the patterns that I was experiencing. And this is where the viewer can really, really dig deep now.
Absolutely.
The patterns that we attract, the same dynamics, the relationship Groundhog Day, is because you have a psychological, emotional shape. Mm-hmm. And it goes with certain kinds of partners, right? So when I was dating, Stanley, I met some really quality women.
Yes.
That were doing their life and their career and managing their kids, and they wanted a partner. They wanted love and support, but they weren't damsels in distress, right? I'd go on a date with them, meet them online or something. We didn't have any chemistry. But then I meet another woman who was overwhelmed, and it was like love at first sight.
Yes.
Follow me?
Yeah.
Because my shape didn't match the woman who could manage her life, and she was on, it only fit with the women who were sort of damsels in distress.
That's right.
Right. So most people make the mistake when they see a pattern like I did. Oh, I kept asking my coach, why can't I attract the woman who's got her shit together? That
right.
She's got a life and a career, but she's handling it and she's grounded and she's solid. And why can't I? She's like, as long as you are Roy the Rescuer, you will never meet her.
That's right.
Because your energies don't match. She doesn't need to be rescued. She's going to be turned off by that nonsense that you're doing, all that fear-based stuff, right? Mm-hmm. But the woman who needed to be rescued, they were all up in my business. So so it's not about, Roy, you got to find a better woman. No, you have to change your psychological, emotional shape. If I got out of being Roy the Rescuer, all of a sudden, I would magnetically attract a different kind of woman.
Absolutely.
Right? So it's all about shape shifting. That's what I do as a coach, is help people make the changes to their psychological structure, their personality, their childhood conditioning, all these things, so that you attract more healthy dynamics into your life.
One of the things that first of all, that's amazing. And one of the things that I do when, have the fortune enough to coach a few people on this end as well, what I don't do specifically with relationships, but it's more about empowering them to be their best self. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I share with them is, first of all, we got to get to the root cause of some of these challenges that's going on. Once we can remove this, and of course, this, remove those deep root causes of whatever that pain is, and then replenish that with positivity, the best, all of those wonderful affirmations, knowing that you are good for, or the best of, or whatever you want to say it, then their entire life, as you said, begins to shift in ways that they have no idea. Here's a question that I have. This is a real quick question. Have you ever lost confidence in relationships? I know I did once upon a time. I was just like, I'm done with them.
Yeah. I never got to the place where I was done with them, because one of my issues was that I was a type of relationship addict. I was like a serial monogamist. It's like, I really needed the attention and the affection of a woman to make me feel like a man. Like I was never, from the age of 16 to 46, I never spent a single day out of a committed relationship. And there were 4 women in there. So that means they overlapped with each other, if you know what I mean. Okay. So I did some things that I'm not too proud of, but I couldn't
we all have.
Yeah, I couldn't live without a woman. So, but I did have the cynicism. I did have the heartbreak. And for a while, I was filled with a lot of resentment and blame at the women, because I thought it was their fault, right? But the minute I started seeing Roy the Rescuer and some other things that I was doing to create this nightmare that I was living in, well, then the resentment dropped away. right? Because if I'm attracting Debbie the damsel, that's only because I'm Roy the rescuer. So how can I blame her, right? So my ability to be more positive about relationships, to let go of bitterness and anger and resentment.
Isn't that hard sometimes, though?
It happened once I took responsibility for what I was creating.
Yeah.
Right. I had this shape, and it was responsible for what I was magnetically attracting. Right. That's why this might be fun for the audience. That's why that I say the law of attraction, it works, and that should scare the hell out of you.
It needs to scare the hell out of you.
Right. Because as we're talking about, if I have a certain emotional, psychological shape, it's going to attract its reciprocal playmate. Right. Yeah. If I'm rescuing, I'm going to attract a damsel. And it's so common for instance, for women to often say, why do I keep attracting men who are sort of broken down, wounded soldiers? Like their life is kind of in trouble, their career's in trouble. And I meet these guys and then I start to, like, I patch them up, I kind of help them get back on their feet again. And then they leave me. Right. Yeah. Well, that's because you're carrying some sort of energy that the way that you would get love and attention from a man is if you're a nurse, if you're walking around like Florence Nightingale.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're a nurse, you only connect with people who are wounded.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
If you're a mechanic, you walk around with a wrench, you only attract people that are broken down cars that need to be fixed. You follow me? So if you don't want to get a broken down man or woman, or if you don't want to get a wounded man or woman, it's not about trying to find a different partner. It's about getting out of your nurse persona or your mechanic persona. You follow me?
That's absolutely right.
Yeah. That's where the gold becomes. And when you see that you've been living that way with those beliefs, all the resentment falls away, because it's like, oh, it's really not their fault.
That's true.
I'm attracting that. So the law of attraction is working against me.
That's right.
Instead of for me.
That's right. Okay. Or actually, the law of attraction is actually doing its job, because this is what you're saying to, whether you say it's to your God, to the universe, to the spirits, to whatever, right? It is bringing into your sphere of influence what you have been asking for. Yes. And the law of attraction, it doesn't have a sense of humor. It doesn't know when you're joking. It's going to literally bring that thing right before you. We're talking about this. I have to get to your book.
Yeah.
I have to get to Relationship Bootcamp. I got to get to Relationship Bootcamp.
Yeah.
We have to do this. Let me ask this. The biggest mistake we make in our pursuit for intimacy is what? What's the biggest mistake we make for our, and listen.
Yeah.
Before you say that, Roy, let me just say this. Family, if you're driving, if you're not paying attention too closely, stop what you're doing, stop washing the dishes, don't stop driving, but focus on the road. Focus on the road. And when you get home, rewind this and listen to this. Yeah. This is going to answer a lot of your questions, male and female. Pay attention. Matter of fact, if you got something to take some notes with, take some notes. This is going to be good. All right. Yeah. I'm sorry, Roy. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, first of all, I totally love how you call your tribe, your viewers, your listeners, your family. I love that. That is very, I might steal that. That's very cool.
Well, you are open to it, please.
We've been talking about the big mistake, which is the focus, excuse me, the focus on them rather than what am I doing? What am I doing to create these situations? Let me drink something here.
No problem.
Yeah. What am I doing? With my emotional shape, what am I doing to attract these things? So the biggest mistake is we focus on trying to find the right person instead of focusing on being the right person. And that is what the book is about. Okay. Relationship Bootcamp, hardcore training for love, life, the pursuit of intimacy. And what I discovered is that the healthier that you are, the healthier the relationship you attract. In other words,
yes.
you can never attract a relationship that's healthier than you are. Okay. So I kind of use a fitness metaphor to describe it, like getting in relationship shape.
Right.
Okay. If the better relationship shape you're in, the healthier you are, the healthier you're functioning, the way you're showing up in the world, you're going to attract healthier dynamics. Okay. So I use this kind of metaphor, and I think it's really powerful. Imagine that somebody wants to compete in a triathlon. Okay. They want to compete. They want to do well. And there are actually triathlon coaches. I met one time. I mean, I never ran a triathlon. I have a car if I want to go that far. You know,
exactly.
Or a boat or something, or a bike. Right? But if you want to do well, you might hire a triathlon coach. Okay. So then you sit down with the coach and you start asking the coach all kinds of questions about the day of the race, right? Like, how do you survive the water in the beginning when it's a frenzy? And then how do you transition to the bike, and from the bike to the marathon? And you're out there all day. So how much food do you eat? When do you eat? How much water, on the race course, where should I speed up? Where should I slow down to conserve energy? So imagine sitting with an accomplished triathlete who now is a coach, and you're peppering the person with questions about race day.
Yeah.
If the coach is really good, the coach is going to say, okay, those questions are important. Okay. They really are, but they're not the question you should be asking me.
That's correct.
You want to be successful and compete in a triathlon, you should be asking me about how to get in shape. Because if you're 50 pounds overweight, I don't care how good your race day strategy is, you're never going to make it. You're never going to go the distance. No. So it's really about your fitness, man. It's about how conditioned you are for what you're about to try to do. Right. And I have found it's exactly the same in our love lives. Most people come to me and they're like, they want to talk about race day, which is the day you're meeting that person, the moment when you're standing face to face with them. They're like, where do I go to meet this person? How do I approach, or how do I get them to approach me? What do I say? How do I flirt? What do I wear? What I mean? They're asking me about race day. Like, what do I do when I'm standing right in front of a person? And I'm like, those are important questions. But if you're coming to the starting line, when you're standing in front of someone, you met them online, maybe you met them at church, maybe you met them at a mall or a networking event. Who knows how you meet people? I met my wife. I sat down next to her in a personal growth conference. I just sat down next to her in the room. 18 months later, we got married. So how do you meet people? It's strange how you meet people. But it's that moment when you're standing in front of them. If you're not in good relationship shape in that moment, you're not going to go the distance with this person.
That's right.
You're going to screw it up, right? You're going to bring your junk that has poisoned your other relationships and the things that so the whole idea of all of my work is, how can we get you in shape for the race? How can we make sure that when the universe or God, whatever you want to say, whenever that puts you face to face with someone, right? You remember the old commercial, Reese's peanut butter cup commercials, one person's walking, they're eating chocolate. The other person's walking, they're eating peanut butter, and they bump into each other. It's like, ooh, this tastes good. Right.
That's right.
We have those moments in relationships about how we meet people. The issue is, are you ready for something real?
Woo.
Right. So my book identifies 7 relationship muscles. Okay.
I was just going to ask you
that there's 7 areas of our life that we need to be strong and fit. We need to have these muscles strong if we're going to create something healthy that lasts. So the whole book is an exploration of, what does it mean to get in relationship shape? What does it mean to be ready to go the distance whenever you're going to bump into that person? Right. So, and perhaps we can talk about a couple of those.
I was just going to ask, I know you mentioned, powerful. I know you mentioned the 7 muscles. Don't go through all the 7 muscles because they need to buy the book. And just point blank, they need to buy the book. But But if you don't mind, can you
Good
tease
tip.
our family with just a couple? Just
Yeah.
tease a couple, and just to tease a couple of them.
Yeah, I'll tease you with the one I think is the juiciest.
Yeah.
It's sort of the hardest. It's the stickiest. It's the yuckiest, but it is your relationship to your past.
Ooh.
Right? Well, we
and
have
all
a
of the dysfunction.
Right. We have a relationship to our mind. We have a relationship to our emotions. We have a relationship to our communication and our truth.
Mm-hmm.
But we have a relationship to our past.
That's right.
Okay? Now, I often make a joke that the only people that don't have baggage are the little babies in the maternity ward. Okay.
Right.
Everybody's got bumps and bruises and scars and wounds. Some have got tremendous trauma from their past, whether in childhood or not. But we all have baggage. We all have pain. We've all been hurt. Right. So that's not the problem. The problem is, what are we doing with that?
Right.
Most of us carry it with us. Right.
That's right.
And so the past is not something that happened. It's something that's happening.
Yes.
Get that right? It's still alive
right.
in us.
That's correct.
So I often joke again that many of our relationships are like a menage a trois from hell. It's me and her and my past. And the three of us are in this together.
That's
right?
correct.
So we have a tendency to carry our wounds and our resentments and our hurts, and they can make us guarded, right? Because we've been hurt. If you've been cheated on, betrayed, lied to, ghosted, gaslighted, you don't want to be hurt again. So you end up developing a little guardedness, a little suspiciousness.
Yes.
You build a wall around your heart, right? And the wall will keep you safe, but the wall will keep you single.
That's right.
Because nobody can get in. Well, they can't get in to hurt you, but they can't get in to love you either. Right. So one of the things you have to deal with is, how can I let go of my past? Not that I'm going to forget what happened. Yeah. But how can I let go of it to the extent that it's not standing between me and this new person? So like when I do meet them face to face, I'm meeting them like with a clean emotional slate. Like I'm going to get to know you and who you are. But just imagine that the last 3 people that you've dated or been with have all cheated on you. Right? They've all cheated on you. Now you bump into a new person at the grocery store. What are you going to assume? Are you going to cheat on me? Right? Aren't you going to be a little, right? I mean, you can't help it if the past is alive. If you haven't,
that's correct.
The other person is going to pay for other people's sins.
Right.
And that's not fair, because that might be a good person standing in front of you. They might be an honest person, but you might not give them a chance, or you might really have kind of like you're waving them in, but you're pushing them away, because the past is alive. So I often use an illustration with this, again, being a former professional golfer, right? And I've worked with lots of sports psychologists, because anytime you're trying to perform at the highest level,
that's right.
Swing coaches, nutrition, fitness guys, and sports psychologists. All of sports psychology is basically this. I don't care if it's for baseball, football, basketball, golf, tennis. It's all about how can you get to the next shot or pitch or at bat or point or play with a clean emotional slate.
That's correct. Right? That's
If I'm hitting this golf shot and I'm thinking about the last 4 that went way to the right in the trees, I'm screwed. If you're in the batter's box, it's like, I haven't gotten a hit in a month, you're screwed. You got to be able to let that go so you can be present in this moment and execute, right? So in relationships, I got to
share this with you.
Yeah, you got to be able to let go of your past so that you can be present and be available, right?
That's right.
So
that's right.
That is a huge issue. Now and it's an ugly one, because most of us, we don't want to talk about our past. We don't want to, do the work around because there's a process I take people through on how do you let go of the past. It's deep. Right. We'd be on here for hours and hours to describe it, but to open up those old wounds and to talk about them and to How do you let him go? That's hard. But if you don't do it, you're going to have this wall around your heart, and you're going to have a nightmare in your love life, because you got to. So that's just one of the muscles, and they're all like that. They're deep, they're complex.
Yes.
But it's what you need to do to get in relationship shape so that you can make something healthy that's not going to fall apart again in 3 months or something, or whatever your pattern might be.
That's correct. You know, you talk about that, and there's a few things I just want to mention. You was talking about sports, as we like to say. In my former life, I played baseball. So you're absolutely correct. I played second base. So I can't focus on the last ground ball that I kicked, made this error, a run scored, and now we're behind by a run because I made an error. And then the very next ball, it always seems to find you.
Sure.
Now, one or two things going to happen, to your point. Either you're going to let that go and catch the ground ball, turn a double play, or you still going to be thinking about kicking that one, and you're about to kick this one as well. It just seems to be there. And one of the things that I share with some of the people that I have the opportunity to coach and mentor is, a lot of times they would ask about going to the altar or being married. And the words that I use is, you have to be 100%. Now, that goes exactly to what you just described, in removing the past, and you can't bring your mama, your grandmother, your dad, your uncle into the bedroom with you, and so many other things. I just think this is just absolutely remarkable. And then I asked the family this question. I brought my friend on, and the top of his game, and he's sharing some wisdom with you guys and helping you guys to better your life overall, not just relationship. But if you take these principles, the short ones that he just shared with you guys, and apply it to your life will be better, not just looking at it from a single relationship. And I asked this question: is it better to have had the opportunity, or is it better to not have ever received an opportunity? I'm gonna let you answer it for yourself, but that is the question. Now, I say that, and Roy, if you don't mind playing with me a little bit, I'm gonna shoot you a couple quick questions, just 2 or 3 of them, not gonna be long, and just share with me your thoughts. Somebody asked, when I was preparing for us to converse, I talked to a couple of people, and one of the questions somebody asked me was, why do men ghost you? This just was the point. I was like, why do men? And I wanted to answer. I said, well, I'm not going to answer. I'm going to let Roy answer and go there. So one of the questions is, why do men ghost you? This is obviously from a female.
Yeah. And there can be a lot of reasons, and it can get complicated.
Yes.
Sometimes it can be that they were wanting something from you in the first time or two that you met them, and you weren't given it.
That's
and
right.
They're going to move on to someone who is, if you know what I mean, right?
That's right.
So sometimes men are in a hit it and quit it type of mentality. And when that doesn't happen on the first or second date, well, they're going to move on. They just disappear. So it could be something like that. It could be, and again, I don't like to beat up on men, but sometimes we need some help in these regards. And this is probably true maybe of women too. But when you meet someone and you kind of sense that there's not really the connection that you want, I mean, you have a good time with them, things are okay, but you don't really feel it. It's sometimes difficult to put on the big boy pants and call somebody up and say, listen, I just don't feel a connection between the two of us. I don't want to disappear on you and do that to you. I just want to tell you that I don't feel a connection. I wish you all the best. A lot of us are scared to do that. And so we just disappear, right? So when a person ghosts you for whatever reason, they're not interested, right?
That's correct.
The fun part is we take that so personally. We take it to mean something about us, like I did something wrong, or there's something wrong with me, like I'm not pretty enough, or I'm not tall enough, or I'm not rich enough, or I'm not what. We take it personal when in reality, this is a deep spiritual point here.
Right.
It's not personal.
Yes.
It's not about you.
That's correct.
Right. Now, they didn't feel like there was a connection or something, but that's not about you, because connection and chemistry is really mysterious.
Yeah.
Like, you might meet someone and you might have said something, or you might have been wearing a blouse, and it reminds the guy of his Aunt Mirtha or something, and he hated her, and
Yeah.
he's turned off by you. And you're like, you know what I mean? So who knows why we're attracted to some people and why we're not.
Correct.
But it's not personal. It's they don't feel a connection, and they might not have the guts to just tell you that. And so you don't have to live with the confusion. And that's one reason why whenever I'm coaching someone, I really harp on that, because I did that to a few women, and I had it done to me a few times. And it sucks to have somebody, hey, that was a great time. What are you doing Friday? Yeah, I'll call you. It was great. We'll get together. And inside you're like, no, I'm not doing that. I don't really want to. I don't
Right.
want to tell them. And then you just disappear, right? That's
Right.
not the way human beings should treat each other. But it is the reality sometimes. So what I tell people is, if you're going to open yourself up to dating and relating, especially if you're going to go online, you better have a sense of humor. Okay.
Yep.
You're just going to have some bizarre experiences. You're going to get ghosted. It's just not about, it doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. It just, well, it's about them. It's the way they function. They're too cowardly to tell you, I don't feel we connect. You know what I mean? So, but you can let something like that really darken your spirit. You know what I mean? It can be depressing. It can be like, oh, screw this. Right. And that's what you got to protect. Because
Exactly.
when you get an attitude about dating, relationships, about men, you know, you were sharing that the one person was like, I hate men, right? Which is funny, but not funny. You know,
Right.
that's real, right? Because she's been hurt. She's been ghosted and gaslighted probably.
Yes.
If you carry that in you, it makes you less attractive.
Correct.
Like we don't have time to get into this, but one of the things I talk about, that what makes a woman really attractive is what I call her radiance. Mm-hmm. And radiance is not about conventional beauty. It's an energetic quality of openness, playfulness, sensualness, vulnerability, spontaneity. Those are the qualities that make a woman, where like the Beatles sang that song, something in the way she moves attracts me like no other lover, right? Women have to protect that. They got to protect their attitude. And so if you're getting dark and depressed and down about this, it's going to sabotage you, because you're going to be moving through the world without the brightness of the radiance that is naturally yours. You're going to have a scowl, right? You're going to have a little bit of a sour attitude, and that makes you less attractive. And then it's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yep.
Tommy. So you got to let go of the ghosting. You got to do some work to let go of that and not take it personal, so that you have a positive attitude about yourself, about dating, so that when you walk in to meet someone for the first time, you met them on Match.com, you're walking in with hope, with enthusiasm. Like, oh, this is going to be a fun person to meet, rather than, it's going to be another jackass that I'm going to have to deal with. Right.
That's right.
He can feel that energy, just like you can feel it if a guy because guys can do this too. Guys can be disgusted, and you know, they're still wanting to connect, but they don't like women. It's really easy to want a woman but not like her.
Yeah.
Not like them. And for a woman to want a man but not like men, right? So you're at cross purpose. This is just the stuff I work on with my clients to clear that kind of baggage away. And it gives you just a much better chance at doing something special.
Well, there's a couple things as we close out. There's a couple things. One, I like to do this, and we have a lot of fun on the show, as you know. We have a lot of fun on the show. So all of our guests, we ask them to, and this is just all in love from, I'm originally from New Orleans, so this is all in love for our New Orleans family and all of those things. I always, when I first opened the show, you heard me say the whole New Orleans wine, all of those things, right? So I always ask my guests, you got to do the New Orleans call for me one time, right? Just one time. I'm going to do it for you and then follow it. I just always ask my guests to do it. So you ready?
Yep.
All right. Wine.
Wow.
Yeah. Very good.
Man, I love New Orleans. And I'm from Chicago, and I went to school at LSU. And one of the first nights down there, the guys on the golf team took me to New Orleans. And I mean, I never liked seafood because I'm from frickin' Chicago. Now I got down there. Oh man, you guys know how to eat. Oh, crawfish boil. It just, it's been a long time since I've had some of that too. I need to get down there like in April and May when the good stuff is happening.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So in closing out, listen, first of all, family, you guys have to support my friend. Get the book. I'm going to share, I'm going to turn it over to him so he can share with you where you can get the book. And I know you also said you wanted to do something special for the family and all of those things. So just, first of all, where can they go and get the book? I need them to get the book.
Yeah.
Bootcamp. Go get it.
Great. Right. Well, it's on Amazon, you know,
Correct.
as an ebook, paperback, and audio, right? So you can just Google relationship bootcamp and or search in Amazon, it'll pop right up. But also my website is coachingwithroy.com. That's the place to go because it's got a link to my books on Amazon. And it's got my contact information, my cell phone numbers right on the home page. You can just text me if you want to have a conversation about coaching. Because you mentioned I offer a free exploratory call. I would never expect someone to commit to a coaching program without first talking to me and feeling if we have a little chemistry, a little connection, right? Agreed. So there's no pressure involved. I don't need to do that with my clients, right? So, but you can find out how to contact me through the website. But the coolest thing, and it's on my website also, coachingwithroy.com, is since I'm all about getting in relationship shape, I created a way to identify your current relationship fitness level. There's a self-test, right? Because if you ever went to the gym and you wanted to hire a personal trainer, you know, to get you in shape, any good trainer will start you off with an assessment.
Correct.
They want to find out, okay, where are you now? And I know where you want to get, but if I know where you are now, I can put a program together to get you where you want to go. And I'm thinking like, why don't we do that for our love lives? We all want this healthy, sustainable relationship, you know, that takes pretty good fitness level to have that. Well, what is our current fitness level? So that we can find out how much work do we have to do? How many relationship pounds do we have to lose here?
That's
right. And so I created this self-test. It's a 30-question true-false test. It takes about 4 minutes to take. Okay. It's real quick. It's very accurate. Unfortunately, most people find out that they need to get in better shape. Right. Which would make sense. Like if you were in great relationship shape, you wouldn't be listening to this. You'd be in a great relationship. Right.
That's right.
So you're probably going to get results that say, yeah, a few of your relationship muscles are kind of flabby and need some work. Right. But everything's very, very confidential. Even I don't see your results. You just get them immediately in your inbox. And it just gives you a snapshot of what is your current relationship fitness level. So right on the homepage of coachingwithroy.com, you can't miss it. It just says, what is your relationship fitness level? Find out now. And you click that button, you take the test, you get your results. And then the idea is if you get results that aren't so good, I mean, well, then you call up the coach and you're like, can you put a program together to help me get in better shape so that I can create a relationship that lasts and that feels good? I'm like, oh,
that's right.
I can. That's what I do.
That's right. Excellent. Excellent. And in closing, just really quick, what are some powerful words you want to share with people, whether they're in South Africa or in Europe, whether they're in Japan or in Canada or right in Chicago? What are some powerful things that you would just want to share with them really fast?
I would say it really is possible to create the life that you want. It really is. Whatever your dreams or goals are, it is possible if you work on the right things, if you put your attention in the right places, if you focus on who you are and what's happening inside of you, and less about other people or things that you can't control, right? One of the recipes for suffering is trying to control that which you can't control.
Right.
And knowing to put your attention on things that you can control, that leads to transformation. You can control you. You can work on you. You can't always control people and places and things and circumstances. In fact, you never can control that. But
yeah, that's true.
So if you put your attention where it needs to be on things you can control, you can really navigate life and create a life that you just love to live.
Yeah, absolutely. I truly appreciate you. Family, do me a huge favor. Go to his site, purchase the book, take the test, purchase the book, hit him up for a coaching session, whatever it is. We're here to empower you to be the best you. We're not here for fun and games and jokes and ha ha and hee hee, but we want you to be the very best that you can be. Roy, thank you so much. You know you're going to have to come back. You know you're going to have to come back.
I would love to, because there's all kinds of different muscles that we haven't touched on. And yeah, man, I love your energy. I'd love to be back on again. Fantastic. And thanks for having me. And thanks for everybody that spent about an hour here diving in with us and listening. That's a big commitment, but hopefully you got some meat to really sustain you, things to work on, think about. Yeah.
I believe they have. So listen, everybody know, follow us on all of the social media platforms. Listen, I know some of you guys have some questions. Go to just hit me up on Gmail. Let's talk with Stanley D at gmail.com. LETSTALKWITHSTANLEY D as in David at gmail.com. Hit me up, shoot me some questions. If you missed anything on the podcast, just rewind it. If you want to get directly with Roy, just go ahead and rewind it. Get his information, either shoot him an email, go to his website, but purchase the book. Take the test. Make sure that you can be 100% before you get that opportunity that's going to come before you. So with that being said, y'all know how we do it. We're about to take it to the street, baby. Let's go. I appreciate y'all. Well, I'll see y'all next week on Let's Talk with Stanley Doucette. Y'all take care. Let's go.